Christopher Langan, the smartest security guard. This man has a strange, almost unbelievable story, and it really makes you feel the injustice. His IQ is estimated to be between 195 and 210. But he never went to big universities like Harvard, and he never worked in secret labs at NASA. Christopher had a very hard childhood. His family was poor. He was kicked out of college because he couldn't afford the tuition. And his professors didn't care to understand his unique way of thinking. So, he made a decision. He left the entire academic system and said goodbye. What did he do next? He worked as a security guard in bars, a construction worker, and even a farmer. During the day, he dealt with drunk people fighting in bars. And at night, he went back to his room, writing a complex physical and philosophical theory called the cognitive theoretic model of the universe. A theory that tries to explain everything. Christopher believes that the education system is designed for average people. People who follow the crowd. Not for geniuses like him. So he chose a different path. He spent his life building his own ideas and reading philosophy books in his free time. And this shows you something important. Intelligence is not limited to fancy offices or white laboratories. The smartest person in your city might be the one serving you coffee, or the one guarding the building you live in. Ung-Yong. Ung-Yong, a young NASA employee, this Korean genius has an IQ of 210. At just 3 years old, he could speak 4 languages fluently. By the age of 8, NASA heard about him and invited him to work in America. Imagine that, a child who should be playing with clay, solving complex physics equations for space rockets. Kim worked with NASA for 10 full years, but then he felt empty and deeply depressed. His routine was harsh: wake up, solve equations, sleep, repeat. No friends, no childhood, no teenage years. In the end, he decided to leave it all behind. He returned to South Korea, studied civil engineering, and became a regular employee in a local company. People in the media were shocked. They called him the failed genius who wasted his life's greatest opportunity. But Kim had a powerful response: I'm happy now, and that's what matters. Intelligence and numbers mean nothing if you're miserable and go to sleep crying. Kim found happiness in a normal life. William James Sidis is literally considered one of the smartest people ever recorded in history. Imagine a child reading the New York Times at just 1.5 years old. While you were still eating dirt from the ground, he was already reading political news. By the age of 10, he entered the prestigious Harvard University and gave lectures in advanced mathematics to professors with full beards. His IQ was estimated around 300, almost double Albert Einstein's. His father, a psychiatrist obsessed with education, used him like a human experiment, trying to prove that genius is just a skill. So what happened to this child prodigy? The press never left him alone, and people treated him like a circus attraction, staring at him as if he were a spectacle. William James Sidis began to hate education and hate fame. All he wanted was peace, to live without being watched. So he chose a quiet life, working simple, boring jobs like a basic accountant. And his favorite hobby became collecting old train tickets. Imagine that. An IQ of 300 fading away into train tickets. William James Sidis died poor and completely isolated in a small apartment. Albert Einstein had an IQ estimated around 160 and became the global face of genius, largely because of his charisma and his famous photo sticking out his tongue. That image spread everywhere, printed on t-shirts, mugs, and turned into a cultural icon. Over time, people were conditioned to associate his name with the smartest person on Earth. Albert Einstein developed the theory of relativity, which completely changed the course of physics. But his massive fame was driven heavily by media coverage that followed him everywhere. The press captured his wild hair and his spontaneous personality, turning him into a public star. Not just a traditional scientist working quietly in a lab. His image as the eccentric genius greatly amplified his status in popular culture, far beyond just IQ numbers.